Have you heard of this dude called Dan Ko? His idea of being or producticizing yourself is that you solve a problem for yourself over a period of time, you get damn good at it, and then you solve similar problems for other people. So that's why your niche basically becomes you. Cooked food, because it's so exposed to heat, is safer because it kills bacteria. So if you're saying that uncooked or cooked vegetables के अंदर कोई फर्क नहीं है या जो भी, तो फिर आप तो मत खुद को बेवकूफ बनना. Not everyone, but like a lot of people have a series now. Someone's got a series on starting their company, someone's got a series on their on fitness, someone's got a series on content creation similar to what I was doing. But सबने अपने अपने challenges लिए, उसके ऊपर एक series बना दी 30 दिन की, which I'm very happy about. It's lovely to see people grow. It makes me feel like कि हाँ bro, मेरे जो ideas थे वो मतलब एक अच्छी जगह से निकले हैं. Yeah, I just hope people don't listen to this and go, oh, jab tak matlab I haven't earned my sleep, I'm not going to sleep. You should sleep 7 to 8 hours every day, every night. That's coming from your nutrition coach and your... Yeah, but that.
But why not, man? That's a good perspective to have, I mean.
Yeah, but that is also taken to the extreme, no? At what point do you look at your day and you go, oh, I have deserved my sleep now? Because ऐसे ही तो मतलब people form very problematic relationships with a lot of things in their life.
Okay.
Some people think unless and until... Like, okay, so in nutrition, right, there's this very common mistake that people make where they earn their food and then they compensate for their mistakes. Whereas, like, I get the point of earning your food in some sense, but I also don't.
Okay.
Because if, let's say, you haven't worked out today, what do? Do you skip your dinner? That's kind of stupid. Don't do that.
Yep.
If you're less hungry, then you tweak your portions. But if you think you haven't, like, earned your food, तो वो थोड़ा सा taken to the extreme or even taken to like a slightly towards the extreme is a little problematic.
Sure.
Because that also opens the gate to a conversation where you can also compensate for your mistakes. It's like, oh, I had a biscuit, let me do 20 more minutes of cardio.
Right.
But then when you also have that option open, you're also more likely to make mistakes because now you can compensate for it. So वो थोड़ा सा problematic है. My relationship with having like just going at it again and again and for as long as I can is not something that stems from like me wanting to punish myself. मेरे को मजे आते चीजें करने में. Like
and the reason is different.
The reason is different. So it's a positive relationship. It's like, and that's just there from the start. Even my teachers had the same thing to say about how I have way too much energy and like you should put me into some sort of activity and stuff. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि it's like मैं खाना नहीं खाऊंगा जब तक मैंने ये नहीं करा. It's like I have energy, इसका कुछ कर लेता हूँ मैं, वरना रात को नींद आती नहीं, not in like a oh I can't let myself sleep type of way. So that's the idea.
Love the idea, man. I think I do follow it in parts. Of course, in extreme you can't follow
anything.
I
don't extreme
you can't follow anything
same.
in that matter then. But that's a good way to look at it, at least when you have all the energy in the world, right?
Yeah,
especially
100%.
when we talk about people we're in 20s, right?
Yeah.
People, not saying that people in 30s or 40s should not, but point being this is the peak of energy that you can get, right? So having a perspective कि यार मैं जितना value add कर सकता था या जितनी मेहनत कर सकता था for that day, I've done that, and then it's a good way to look at things, right?
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, love that perspective, but of course, people, you should not take it in an extreme manner and then come back to the guy saying,
yeah,
तूने बोला था saying भाई ने बोला था इसीलिए. But yeah, how's the content creation journey been so far? Because I feel when I look at your content as an outsider, there's a lot of value for me. Why? I think because there's of course new things that I'm learning about nutrition, which usually is not the case when we talk about fitness influences, if you're okay with that term.
I don't give a shit.
If you're okay with that term. But मेरे को ऐसा लगता है कि ज़्यादा फोकस है कि एक्सरसाइज कौन सी मारूं और वो रूटीन कैसा हो, बट उसका जो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट न्यूट्रिशन वाला है वो आई थिंक उतने लोग नहीं करते. या that is what I came across from your account, right? And that was very interesting because I am someone, as we talked, right, I am not from the city, right? मेरे को अपनी food requirements के लिए मेरा टिफिन आता है, right? On most days I'm missing breakfast, which is a very very bad thing to do. I don't know. Tell me about it. But point being कि मेरे को न्यूट्रिशन की नॉलेज की ज़रूरत है. मैं तो एक यूज केस हूँ, ऑडियंस हूँ कि यार मेरे को बता दे अगर बंदा, ठीक है वर्कआउट भी करना है पर बॉडी में डाल क्या रहा हूँ मैं, वो मेरा सॉर्टेड इतना नहीं है बिकॉज आई एम नॉट फ्रॉम माई होम टाउन, मेरे मील्स अभी इजीली घर से नहीं आ पा रहे या टिफिन आ रहा है विच इज़ हेल्दी, बट you get the gist, right? It's I lack that knowledge of what I should actually eat apart from the fact that I need to work out a certain bit, right? So that was a huge space that I didn't know that I needed to like hear somebody do that. But now help me understand this through a journey. How has this been in terms of being someone who's giving that nutrition knowledge to people clubbed with that fitness consulting and fitness knowledge that you're sharing with people?
Have you heard of this dude called Dan Ko?
Yeah.
Brilliant guy, by the way. The way that he articulates things is just out of this world. His idea of being or producticizing yourself is that you solve a problem for yourself over a period of time, you get damn good at it, and then you solve similar problems for other people. So that's why your niche basically becomes you, loosely speaking. Now, when I started fitness, I had a lot of grit in terms of ye bhi karunga, and then I'm like going to give it my all of that. Putting in the work was never hard. But as the months went by, I realized that as time goes by, my results somehow are getting faster in terms of what I'm seeing in the mirror or how strong I'm getting. And that it wasn't because my efforts just compounded. It's because as the months grew or as the months went by, I was able to acquire more accurate knowledge. Because initially what you do is that everyone starts off with a Google search or a YouTube search. How do I do this? How do I get leaner? How do I get abs? So you start off with like those 6-minute ab workouts. They don't work. Well, they stimulate your abs because they're ab workouts, but if you think you're going to do that and June mein aap Goa chale jaoge with abs, that's not going to happen. So what happened was that till 11th in school, I was fit because I was playing a lot of football. And when you play a sport, just by being engaged in that sport, you tend to stay healthy-ish, right? Then 12th happened. I was like, ab to mujhe nahi pata where I'm supposed to go. So the least that I can do is ace my boards. Because up until that point, I was basically disinterested in a lot of things that I've ever done. So I wasn't like, oh, mere ko ye karna hai life mein, so I know what college I'm getting into. I was not bad as a student. I just never put in effort. So I was always like the 70s mein lane wala student, right? 12th mein, I gave it my all. Absolutely smashed it. Top 4 subjects and all of that. Then I was like, okay, cool. At least like DU's open. So sorted.
DU guys.
DU guys. So what happened then was, because I was putting in all of this effort and I didn't take care of myself in the process, I gained like 15-ish kgs. I don't remember the exact number, but above 10 for sure. But then I decided to try and get fit, right? Again. And this was like a very immediate decision. Like, boards khatam hue, same day I got a gym membership. The reason why I did that was because when you go from fit to unfit, you can notice the way that you change in the way that you live life. So let's say you've been lean and you've been athletic-ish all your life. You put on like 10 plus kgs of fat. You start breathing differently. You start walking upstairs differently. The way that you sit down changes. The kind of clothes you wear also change, dude. In the morning when you're getting ready for school or you're getting ready to go out or whatever, you stop looking at yourself in the mirror. You start deleting pictures when someone sends you pictures of you, if let's say you're at a social gathering or whatever. Someone sends someone's clicking like a group photo. You no longer want to be the dude who's standing in front of everyone else. You want to stand at the back so only your face is visible. You know, all of that. So, like when someone, if let's say, I remember I went to this birthday party post 12th. Not like a rager or anything. It was like a pretty chill birthday party. It wasn't even a party technically. But this person uploaded pictures from the party. And just ke andar main tha, I took the tag off. So I was like, so nobody goes to my profile and sees those pictures. Because I can't ask this person to take these down, right? Because there's other people in it. So that's the extent to which it sort of changes your life. And if you've been unfit all your life, you don't know the other side of how life can be. So that's why it's a little hard to conceive the idea that you can also be incredibly fit. But मेरे लिए वो conceivable था because most of my life I was fit.
You
Then there
were,
was 1 year where I wasn't. So I was
Yeah.
like, I need to get back to that because मैं वैसे पहले था.
Hmm.
But I didn't want to spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to do it. So it started with YouTube searches, didn't work. It started with some articles, sort of worked.
Okay.
Started with watching better YouTube creators who actually knew what they were talking about, worked even better. Till maybe like a year and a half in, I was like, all right, cool, I'm much fitter than my former self. Like I could put 11th wala Francesco through a wall type of thing. That's when I was like, acha, theek hai, I sort of know what I'm doing. But it took a lot of time because there was no system of like checking this information out. Whereas like you go up to someone and be like, acha, is this correct? Because utna Instagram ke upar, I don't even know if half of these things existed. I don't even know if DMs existed back when I was in 12th. So anyway, what happened was that once I got to a point where I did it really well in college, like towards the end of college, and people were asking me for advice. I was like, damn, I know what I'm talking about. And I was confident about what I was talking about because I had also followed shit that didn't work. Eventually, those turned into PDFs of books that I probably shouldn't have possessed. And then that turned into courses over a period of time. And this is like a long journey, like 6-ish, like the last 6-7 years. And now we're here.
Yep.
So that's how it happened. Initially, I was just solving a problem for myself, which is why I bought up Danco, where you solve your own problems and then you teach other people in your shoes how to solve similar problems.
Nice.
So that's how it was. It wasn't like nutrition is an industry that is going to do well, or fitness is an industry that's going to do well. It was all driven by a personal need, which is why I think even today when I'm doing this, it's not about doing like slightly better than the industry. It's about like really trying to lap yourself when it comes to trying to help people. So that's like a condensed version.
Okay. Interesting, man. That's an interesting idea कि आप जो problem face कर रहे हो, let's be someone जो वो solve कर पा रहा है पहले खुद के लिए. That's when you talked about being, productizing yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And then you probably solve that problem for a larger set of people. And then, of course, उसमें से एक opportunity emerge out हो जाती है that you're helping them with something. Then that's cool.
Right.
Right? And Hanji. But would you like to help me understand more in detail on how your college and the learnings over there were?
Yeah, I learned only a few things from college, all right?
Okay.
See, especially DU, dude. You know DU is not very... I mean, if you're a DU kid, you don't have a lot of structure in your life. Because attendance is something that you can curve. Your classrooms are not something that... And I'm not saying that this is a bad thing or a good thing. I'm saying it's a thing that... It depends on the person what you make of it.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Because it wasn't very heavy on your academic scores, like your scores in the exams. And because people who, let's say, were in societies or whatever, they were helped when it comes to their attendance and stuff.
Yeah.
It was something that gives you a lot of scope to explore things. And here's what I explored. First year, nothing. Lack of structure, was basically having fun, extremely social, all of that. It was like the typical DU college life that people dream of, right? And it was fun, I won't lie. No regrets. Then, turning point, mad heartbreak at the end of year one, or like second semester. And I was like, damn, looking back, I wasted the year. So that sort of got me into thinking about, yaar, kuch kar lete hain. Because I mean, 1 year is gone out of 3 years. You scored well, you've pushed yourself hard enough, you had a great personal cost in the way of like not taking care of yourself. You're doing okay everywhere else. Do something with your college life also, because this kind of like how you felt in 12th where you were like, damn, I hope my scores are good enough to cut it. You don't want to feel like that at the end of DU where you're like, I was in DU but I still don't know what I'm going to do because I wasted my time.
Fair.
Like, figure something out if you think there's a lack of structure. So very coincidentally, I got into And this is by chance I got into the debating circuit. Never took it too seriously. It was fun, but like, you know how people were reading up and like they were being informed about stuff. I didn't do that. I just showed up to mock. So it was fun. Like the skill of conversing with people or thinking about things. I sort of picked that up, but like to go up against someone who's well read, wo to nahi ho raha. So, but that happened in second year. And then in second year, when you're bouncing back from something, especially like a heartbreak when you're 18 years old, you start watching a lot of self-help related content to like improve yourself. Because you want answers, right? Because पहली बार जब दिल टूटता है आपका बन जाता है बहुत गंदी तरह से. So then I was trying to look for like solutions online, not just like feeling better, but improving your life and all of that in general. So then I got into the side of Instagram that makes a lot of money, right? And I was like, how do I earn a lot of money like a college student, as a college student? Then I got introduced to like a bunch of things that didn't work, side hustles and all of that. Like that was that. But then I was like, should I? That was the first time where I considered doing something in the nutritional space where I was like, maybe I can do this. Maybe I should start creating content. So I tried a bunch of things that didn't work. Not even going to name them. Hell embarrassing. But I then sort of got into content creation after reading Garyvee's book called Crushing It, which was basically that, bro, put out content. Yeah. More or less, simple, right? And it doesn't have to be like perfectly well produced, just personal brands and stuff. That's what I took away from the book, from what I remember. So I started this page called Fitness and Productivity. So the page that you see today is not the first page. I grew that over a period of a year to like 700 followers, where I was just documenting parts of my day, like my to-do list. I talk shit on stories like I still do. I was documenting my workouts, even my meal process. Like let's say if I'm prepping meals, I was doing all of that, right? Then college got over. So it was like heartbreak, like damn, I got to focus on myself. Then I focused a little on myself. Then I was like, how do I get rich? So those were the three parts of DU for me, right?
Typical DU guy.
Typical DU kid, bro. I'm telling you, you'd find like 1,000 people like me in the same college.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, so that's how it happened. After DU, I think through the college placements only, I got into EY GDS in Gurgaon. Yeah. Fun. Learned a few things from there, but it wasn't for me. Because at least I felt like it was a physical challenge, like not physical challenge, but it was like I was spending a lot of time during the day at work, doing work-related things, but it wasn't like a mental challenge where I thought I would like be forced to level up. Aisa nahi hota. I wasn't talking to important people, all of that. So I felt like, yeah, damn, I'm taking instructions from a machine or my immediate seniors, but मैं उतना सीख नहीं रहा, apart from like just knowing how to function in an organization, जो है important. I learned a lot about that. But it wasn't like how I expected it to be. So when COVID came around, I realized that, dude, something has to change, because it's clearly not satisfying to do what I'm doing from multiple perspectives. From like a growth perspective, I don't know how this is helping me do something bigger in life, जो करना है. I also don't know how this is going to translate into me feeling more appreciated and fulfilled, because at the end of the day, appreciation is a big part of your job. You can get paid a lot, but if you are treated like shit at work, there is no way you want to go to work the next day, dude, because eventually it gets to you. You can navigate one or two problematic people in an organization, but agar aap roz ja rahe ho, it doesn't work. I'm not saying EY was like that. I'm just giving you an example of like why appreciation at work is important, which is why I like doing what I do, because whenever I get like a message like, damn, this is the first time in 10 years I've done this, I'm like, yes, damn, let's go. Vaise. So when that happened, I made the decision, okay, bro, something has to change. 2021, 6 months went into sort of figuring things out. Remember at dinner, I told you about this one phase where I thought I was doing a lot to figure out my way out of EY into the fitness space, but I wasn't really doing a lot. There was a lot of analysis paralysis involved over there. Baat kar raha tha logon se, was strategizing in my head when there was nothing to do.
And this is after you've quit, right?
No, this was... So I'll tell you when I quit. When I got in touch with the right people, by a stroke of luck, I didn't make this happen. I was just in the right place. Maybe even that's a function of like constantly putting in effort, who knows, because being in the right place is also important.
Yeah.
आप घर पे बैठे बैठे नहीं होता ये.
Yeah.
But I went live with someone who and then I got noticed by someone else, and then they were like, do you want to work with me? And I was like, yes sir, please. And that's how it happened. So then eventually when I got to a point where I was like, yaar, I'm not doing as well as I thought I would, but jab tak I'm not scared of where I am and where I'm going, I'm not going to put in max efforts, right? So then I quit my job. And I wasn't even sure if I'd like make it, but जब आपके पास ऑप्शन नहीं होता ना, तो फिर आप दिन में 20-20 घंटे काम करना सीख लेते हो. Especially if you're someone who's not okay with their parents supporting them in their 20s. I'm not. Like if, touch wood, but if tomorrow something goes wrong, no matter how much my lifestyle has to drop, I'm not like going to be dependent on my parents.
Sure.
Hi guys, can you pay for this or pay for that? It's like, nah.
Nice.
I live with you. That's enough.
Yeah.
Like I'll contribute what I can to the functioning of everything. But मतलब उससे ज़्यादा मेरे को चाहिए नहीं. When you're in your mid-20s, you don't. Personal perspective, there's like a lot of backstory there also.
Okay.
But I feel very uncomfortable taking things from my parents. So it's like, even today, the fact that I live with them also sometimes just gets to me. I'm like, damn, like I don't have to pay rent. That's pathetic. Which is very irrational to like most people, and I can understand that. So, anyway, massive sidetrack. But yeah, that's how the journey's been so far, in a nutshell.
Interesting, man. Yes, so we were at dinner the other day, when we were discussing a lot of things and these things came up. But yeah, of course there will be a backstory to that, why there's that perspective.
Yeah.
And seemingly irrational hoga, but koi rationale to hoga, right? But keeping it there, being someone who's advising people, helping people be fit. मैं as someone जो शायद अभी उतना एफर्ट ही नहीं डाल रहा अपनी बॉडी में, जबकि आई शुड आइडियली, राइट? फ्रॉम टू समवन लाइक दैट, what do you tell them? What is essentially being fit in a world that's so fast paced, in a world where you have so many things to do? How do you think a guy or a girl or whatever, right, male, female, third gender people should look at fitness like when there's so much else to do in the day?
I use a brushing your teeth analogy a lot.
Okay.
It's just something that's supposed to fade into your schedule.
Okay.
The intensity with which you do it and the amount of time that you dedicate to it will always vary. But if you think it's going to be, it's sustainable because it doesn't take me any effort, that's not true. Because 24 घंटे में से, it's not like you're only living for 22 hours and like 2 hours you're just like frozen, जिसके अंदर you'll work out. You're going to have to negotiate with your schedule. If you were extremely social to the point where after work you just chill around for 2 hours, you can't do that anymore. If you're someone who would just order in so you don't have to ever worry about food, either you'll have to meal prep, like take care of your own meals, or hire someone who'll take care of your meals. Jiske liye, again, if you're stocking your own groceries, that'll take some time. You'll have to take some time explaining to them how to do things and all of that. So remember that before like looking at fitness and how it should be a part of your schedule, understand that you're going to have to put some time into it. Anyone who says that you can make fitness effortless is lying to you. It'll never not take effort. In essence, over a period of time, you want to look at things that are gratifying. So let's say if you work out, right? I try and divide this into 4 pillars. There's nutrition, there's training, there's movement, and there's recovery.
Okay.
Right? Let's take this backwards. So recovery, you need to sleep enough.
Okay.
And not just from like a recovery perspective, your energy levels and all of that. Even your willpower massively depends on how much you sleep. If you're underslept, you're more likely to give into your temptations. How are you going to sleep less and expect yourself to make a major lifestyle change? It doesn't work. So sleep sufficiently. Do your level best to sleep. Second is your movement. Be active throughout the day. Be it going for a walk every couple of hours, not even like a go to a park type of walk. Just like you've been working for an hour, take a breather, walk to the water cooler for all I care. Get yourself a glass of water, but just move more.
Okay.
For example, when I was in EY, I would after my meals, I would go for like a 15-minute walk to Cyber Hub because pass mein tha office. I didn't buy anything from Cyber Hub, but just like a 15-minute walk. And I'd be ready to go back into work. So stay active. That's number 2. This could be in the form of you having a step count goal, or you having dedicated times during the day where you go for a walk, or even if you make it a habit to walk for like 10 minutes after each meal. Good enough. Good start. Then you have your training. Your training needs to be something that 100% of the time needs to aim for some physical goal in terms of ability.
Okay.
Because if you just work out to get leaner, like, oh, I'm going to work out, I'm going to get on the treadmill so that I can get thinner. Yeah, what happens when you do? Let's say you lose 10 kgs of body fat. Now you don't have anything to look forward to. Why would you keep pouring efforts into something that just keeps you there?
Yeah.
So get into some form of training that's either gratifying from like an enjoyment perspective, like for example playing a sport, or train for something that gives you results so that it keeps you incentivized. And of course those results need to mean something to you. Some people want to train for marathons because they love going for marathons. Some people don't, and they like to weight train because getting stronger is very sexy to them as an idea, and I understand that. Some people would rather pick up a skill and get better at it. For example, some people want to learn boxing and then they'll join like a boxing gym or whatever. So it has to mean something to you in terms of your interest and the results that you can get from it, and it's got to allow long-term growth. Because the moment you don't, and you don't enjoy it also, you're not going to do it. Why would you do it? There's no incentive, you know. And then there's your nutrition, of course. Now, in terms of your nutrition, you can either be extremely... Nutrition is like an entire different... Like, it's... This could be a 10-hour conversation, but there are certain things, there are certain changes that you can make that will give you more results than other changes. But I truly, honestly think when it comes to nutrition, you should honestly do your level best.
Okay.
Automate what you can. You have to hire someone to cook your meals and everything, if you can. I understand if you can't. At one point of time, even I couldn't. College student stories. But put in a lot of effort into your nutrition. Be it making sure your nutritional profile is complete, like you're deficient in nothing. Even if you have to start with blood reports to see what your D3, B12, iron levels are, etc., do that.
Okay.
Have high quality food. Stop listening to your impulses. All of those things. Like, there's a bunch of chapters over there. But start off with making changes that we know almost everyone should make. Stop ordering fried things in. Stop being a slave to your impulses by replacing them with better habits. Have more protein, which is something that's very necessary for most people. Get your blood test done and supplement for B12, D3 if at all that's necessary, which it is for a lot of people in the country. And make sure you get your food from quality places, which is not spoken about because हमारा fitness industry की घड़ी थोड़ी सी calories in, calories out पे अटकी हुई है. So nobody really talks, well, not nobody, a lot of people now do. Credit to them. But most people are still like, oh, this has 100 calories, this has 30 calories, so hence this is better. Like, fam, are you able to digest it? Is it good quality food? How does it help your nutrient profile? So that's the idea. So start off with the higher level activities, like not ordering an aloo tikkis because you're bored, and take it from there. So if you're trying to start, you will always know, if you just like sit with it for 2 minutes, you'll know what habits are pulling you back. जो बंदा ये पूछ रहा है कि अरे यार, is this healthy for me? Fam, हर दूसरे दिन दारू पीना तो छोड़ दे पहले. So we all know what, like, you just, if you honestly just ask yourself, like, कि अरे ये एक दो चीज़ें मुझे रोकनी है, like immediately, जिससे मेरा काफ़ी life improve हो जाएगा. Stop those activities first. And then follow the basics. Better hydration, better ingredient quality, better food quality. घर का खाना खाओ, थोड़ा protein add कर दो in the form of, like, even if it is a supplement, which is great. So do that. Most people know the first 3-4 steps that they need to take. कभी कभी accountability important होती है, कभी कभी उसके ऊपर भी थोड़ी clarity important होती है. I understand that. But it starts with doing what you know for a fact you shouldn't be doing and what you should start doing. So that's that.
Nice. एक other side to this could be that, you know, of course things that you mentioned are good starting steps, but we were talking about how people necessarily don't want to be very careful about, say, the calorie intake you talked about, right? Or getting the know-how in as much detail as they would like, but just ये चाहिए कि थोड़ा simplify हो जाए सारा stuff. So how do you think people should essentially tackle that कि let's not overdo stuff also, let's not be overemphasized on a fact that कि यार XYZ कैलोरीज से 10 ऊपर हो रही हैं, 15 ऊपर हो रही हैं, है ना? बहुत छोटी छोटी चीज़ों पे ओवर एम्फेसिस ना हो, और broadly people are in line, because understanding that people are very complex human beings, right? And from a behavioral perspective, they can do simpler things and simplify it essentially for themselves and not overcomplicate it.
Fair enough. Makes sense. See, everyone has individual goals.
Yeah.
And by extension, the advice that they would get is also individual. So, when it comes to trying to find out what you should do and where you should start, I think that's what your question is, right? कि मतलब जिसको कुछ भी नहीं पता वो बिना overdo करे क्या 2-3 चीजें कर सकता है. Number 1, watch your hydration. That is point number 1.
Okay.
Because most people, especially in the summers, they complain about feeling low on energy when it's like, yeah, you need more water.
Yeah.
Right?
Noted.
Number 2 is including more protein in your diet.
Okay.
That is point number 2. Protein from good quality sources. I personally don't think soy is a very good quality source, but a lot of people are like, oh, go soy.
Yeah.
I'm not sure yet. I'm not convinced that soy is a good quality source. The day I am, I'll change my views, because why not? But as of now, I'm not pro soy. So it could be animal protein. It could be dairy, which again is a form of an animal product. If not, if you're, let's say, strictly vegan or something, then you can go ahead and use a vegan protein supplement, for example, right? And a little note over there, if you think supplements are bad for you, they're only bad for you if they're fake. If you need something and a supplement is helping you get it, it's only going to improve your health quality, and they're not unnatural.
Okay.
Just because कुछ processed होता है डब्बे के अंदर आता है, इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि वो खराब है. अगर वो खराब बनाया गया तो वो खराब है.
Okay.
So, yeah, if you have to resort to like a whey protein supplement, it's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Third is, most people need to include more vegetables in their diet. And especially in like a traditional Indian house. मैं ये नहीं कह रहा Indian diets खराब है, बिल्कुल भी नहीं. बहुत अच्छी चीज़ें हमारे diet के अंदर. But जिस तरीके से घर में बनती हैं, we don't really pay attention to the amount of oil used, right? We don't really pay attention to the balance between veggies, carbs, and your protein. Most people don't get enough protein in their system. Most people also don't get enough veggies in their system. So reduce the amount of oil used in the cooking of your food. That by itself will take you very far in terms of your fitness goals. Second is going to be to include more vegetables in your diet, vegetables and fruits, because most people don't have enough of those. Add more protein, increase your water intake, and lastly, and this goes a long way. Have an eating routine, not in the sense that you only eat food at like this time, 2 baje nahi to kabhi bhi nahi, but have a routine around your food. Like, let's say if you're eating, you eat somewhere around 2 to 3 o'clock. That'll help your digestive health and all of that also. Plus it helps you structure your day. Make sure that you put yourself in a calm state when it comes to eating food. So a little bit of breath work, by the way, before your food, if you're someone who has digestive distress or is very stressed, can go a long way. This is hella underrated. Just if you learn to eat your food when you're relaxed, you'll notice that your digestion improves and your general stress levels also sort of drop. And have a designated place where you eat your food. Not in the sense कि अच्छा मैं घर के बाहर हूँ तो मैं खाना ही नहीं खाऊंगा, because मेरा dinner table यहाँ नहीं है. But let's say if you're at home, eat on your dinner table. Don't eat on your bed, because eventually you'll associate the bed with food, and when you get in bed at night, you'll want food. That's something I've struggled with for the longest time, by the way. But giving a place to food, work, rest, individual places will go a long way. Not just in terms of fitness, but in terms of everything else also. If you only sleep on your bed, you'll feel sleepy on your bed, which is great. If you eat on your dining table, you'll feel hungry on your dining table, and then you get up. If you work on your study table or your work table, you will be focused over there. The less you mix all of these places, the better your life quality will be, because you can compartmentalize things in your brain because you've done the same in your life. So that's the idea. I think that would, and of course, start weight training. Doesn't have to be a complicated weight training program.
Yeah.
Pick something off the internet that isn't too advanced. Don't do things that'll hurt you in the gym. Go light initially. That, get some cardio in the form of a sport, or even if you want to start going for runs or whatever, if your body allows you. Let's say if you're too overweight, don't do that yet. But stay active, play a sport, do the basics in terms of nutrition, jaise maine bataya. That should put you ahead of 90% of people who are trying to achieve the same goals as you are when it comes to fitness.
Agreed. Bro, you just said, I think, a couple, 3-4 things that I had a different perspective on. One being, just because whey proteins being manufactured doesn't mean that it's unhealthy. I was of the other opinion, right? I've always been of that opinion. But makes sense that you should. I'm probably unaware, right? I have a perspective that I've put no research in, right? There's no knowledge, and that's the perspective that I had. But I think great things put out in terms of all of this goes on to being as planned, as structured as you can be, in terms of that essentially incorporates your sleep, incorporates the places that you're eating your food in, and more or less knowing what you're doing around in a day.
Yeah.
Correct. So, yeah, I mean, coming from that perspective, I think all of us know कि जैसे आपने बात करी कि भाई पहले हर रोज या हर 2 दिन में दारू पीना तो छोड़ दे. But point एक ये भी है कि although I am someone who doesn't drink alcohol, right? या शायद मैं खाना ज़्यादा बाहर का खाता हूँ, मैं वो बंदा तो हूँ. But कई बार ऐसे हो जाता है that when people are there in social settings, right? It's a little difficult to not do that, because as you also talk about a lot, right? We're social creatures. We need social validation. 100%. When you talk about the way we look, right? It also that's also something we talk about
for sure.
But that social validation in terms of fitting in and in terms of not being the outlier. कि यार सब चल रहा है, तो it's okay. I'll probably make up for it sometime. Of course, that doesn't happen. But
it doesn't happen.
How do people you advise deal with that?
Okay, see, people also have a bit of a flawed notion when it comes to, or a flawed understanding of how this works. उनको लगता है अरे मैंने इसके साथ दारू नहीं पी, ये बुरा मान जाएगा. That's not true in most cases. In most cases, when you stand up for yourself, not in the sense कि मतलब जाकर लड़ लिया किसी से because उसने कह दिया दारू पी ले. But let's say if you stand up for yourself and you're like, no, I'm not going to do that because I'm trying to chase something. If you're at the start of your journey and you haven't achieved much, that will get you some criticism where you're like, oh, I just stopped drinking last week. It's like, अरे यार चल कोई बात नहीं, मंडे से शुरू कर लियो. अच्छा चल अप्रैल रहने दे, मई से शुरू कर लियो, or whatever. Just today is a Sunday, start tomorrow. Tomorrow is a fresh day. You know, it's like you'll come across people like that. So you may feel like you're missing out on something, right? Having said that, when you actually start making progress, you get some amount of admiration, right? Kind of like how you start off as being the smallest guy in the gym, even if you know what you're doing, because you learned it from the right places. You're not respected for it, right? But if you're the bigger guy in the gym, if someone has to go to someone for advice, they would probably come to you, right? Eventually, the people around you will respect you because now it doesn't seem like हाँ ये बस बोल रहा है, इसने कल फिर से पी लेनी है, you know. When you take yourself seriously, people around you also will eventually take yourself seriously. And there are some people who won't. There are some people who will hate you for it. Like, oh, he thinks he's a bodybuilder or whatever. I don't know what such people would say. But अगर आप clearly एक healthy goal को chase कर रहे हो, and आपके आसपास के लोगों की, for a lack of better words, जल रही है वो देख के, okay, fine. You don't need to be around the same people, because eventually what happens is that you make connections off of having very similar outlooks, similar activities in your life, or just being similar people. We're not from the same industries, but we think in some sense alike. What you do interests me, what I do somewhat interests you, which is why we're having this conversation. We've never met from in like an informal setting
Yeah.
through a common friend or whatever.
Yeah.
We first spoke on Instagram.
Yeah.
So when you get into something and you make progress in it and it sort of becomes a part of your life, even if it's not a huge part of your life, you will find people who will eventually also share similar values. When you go to the gym for the first time, unless you decide to go to the gym with a friend, you don't have a gym buddy. Eventually you might find one.
Yeah.
Eventually you'll find other people that you'll talk to about this stuff. You know, you'll find other people like you. So when you make that transition to like a healthier life, some people will not take you seriously, but then you have to create evidence that, nah, I'm serious about this, and they'll respect you, as friends should. If they still make you feel like crap about these things, then you don't need those people in your life, because you will find other people on the basis of the activities that you do.
Sure.
So stop taking like, मेरे को अब जैसे होता है ना कि मेरे बॉस ने यार सिगरेट पिला दी, तू 6 साल का बच्चा है क्या? नहीं, मतलब 6 साल के बच्चों को सिगरेट तो नहीं पिलाते
18 साल
होपफुली. हाँ, कॉलेज का बच्चा है क्या, सीनियर ने पिला दी. So something like that. That's sort of how it works.
Got it. And when we talk about, again, the point being, stand up for yourself.
Spot
Right.
on.
Stand up for yourself, man.
हाँ.
If you don't, nobody will.
Spot
Nobody will.
on.
And let's again have this conversation. If we have this conversation with Francesco a year from now, we'll be discussing the same thing for you. And I'm counting me within this, that we need to stand up for ourselves. And but talking about a very interesting perspective that I told you about also, that there was this story that you were talking about, where how you're being treated socially has a lot to do with the way you look.
Yeah,
right? For good, for bad, I don't know. You tell me.
Oh,
But it does depend. I'm with you on that, right? But I think when you say that, right, I am aligned to you on that perspective. But जनता अगर एक क्या कहूँ, with lack of better words, वो थके हारे पुराने और ऑर्थोडॉक्स या इफेक्ट ले लेने वाले माइंडसेट के साथ कहेगी कि यार ऐसे थोड़ी होता है, कि अगर मैं नहीं अच्छा दिखता तो इसका क्या मतलब है, कि मतलब मेरे को लोग अच्छे से बात भी ना करें, right? Now that will be one extreme end of it, right?
Exactly.
But what do you mean when you say that?
Yeah, so see, there's multiple pillars to your life.
Yeah.
Let's just say you're mad successful.
Okay.
Right? And I'm not. And I want to be like you, and I have things to learn from you and all of that. And I have the opportunity to be in your network or talk to you or even like get a conversation out of you. I'm not going to talk over you. My voice modulation is going to be one that definitely exudes respect.
Yes.
All of that.
Yes.
So there's going to be a bunch of things that dictates how people treat you. This is one of them. So you know how some people are like, oh, looks don't... Okay, so my perspective is this. All other factors held constant. Your knowledge, the way you talk, the car you roll up in, the kind of clothes you wear, all of that. If you're fitter and if you take care of your appearance, you're going to be treated a little better. I think I may be so wrong about this, but I think it's called the halo effect, na? Jahan par matlab you assign certain qualities to the physical appearance that a person has. I may be wrong about
I'm
this.
not sure.
Agar main galat hu, please don't crucify me. Haan. So the idea is that the way that you look massively influences how people treat you. But the way people treat you till they really get to know you is also a function of how you look, because that's all they know about you. If let's say if we met, fam, like let's say we met at dinner. If either one of us looked like a mess, the other person would feel like this person either doesn't take this conversation seriously or they don't take life seriously in general. Because we didn't meet like, hey bro, chal, let's get a drink. We met for a conversation for a purpose. Yeah. So if you show up to that, I'm not even talking about like being at your best and showing up in like a 3-piece suit or a double-breasted suit. I mean, fam, smell okay. Na ke aajo type of thing. That's what I'm talking about. If you can't take care of your basic appearances, then you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. Now, you may have other qualities that make up for this, because of which you may never feel it. But if, let's say, you're the exact same person, today you're very unfit and you don't take care of yourself, even fitness and grooming and like presentation wise, or the way that you talk or your mannerisms, and then you start doing that a year later, you'll notice that people will treat you very differently. You get access to better opportunities, conversations, doors in general. And then when you get your foot in the door, people can see you for who you really are. So usually हमें एक assumption ही बना लेते हैं, and this is the part where people get very defensive when I say that appearances do matter. They'll be like, oh, so does it not matter who I am inside and like what I'm capable of and all of that? It's like, yes, it does, absolutely. But the problem is कि मैं आपको जानता नहीं हूँ. कोई भी किसी को नहीं जानता unless they've like really had time together. और अगर मैं आपको जानता नहीं हूँ, I need a filtration system of sorts for me to, because यार, if let's say you're going for a job interview, I've not seen you work. I see your CV, it's impressive. I've seen another person's CV, it's impressive. You both talk well and all of that. One of them clearly put in the effort to look a little better. So that becomes the deciding factor, no? Not because I think it's the most important factor, it isn't.
Sure.
But it's all that I have left because every other factor is constant. So why take that advantage away from yourself?
Sure.
And anyone, see, again, I'm scared of saying this. Actually, I'm not. It's the truth. Your social life, your dating life, your access to opportunities changes because there's also a part of us that perceives people on the basis of their physical appearances and how they carry themselves also. I've recently started making an attempt to make sure that my shoulders are back and like, I stand upright, which is something I never used to do because I was anyway tall, तो मेरे को कभी ऐसे need नहीं लगती थी. मैं in fact थोड़ा सा slouch करके चलता था and it didn't feel odd. But I know for a fact that it makes a difference in how I feel and how people would also look at you. Like when you're having conversations, the dynamic of the eye contact changes. Not in like a malevolent, like tu mere niche type of way, but like they look at you with a little more respect and admiration type of way. What you say seems to hold more weight when you come across a certain type of way, which has a lot to do with your appearance. So that's the idea. There's this one story also, I don't know if I should go that personal, but I remember there was someone who I knew from back when I was like 15 or 16, right? And the way that this was a girl, a reasonably attractive girl at the time. And our dynamic was very different. Like, we were never great friends. We'd talk, I'd ask for, maybe if it was like, do you have notes from like this day and all of that, stuff like that. But she was friends with my friends, but her and I were never close. There was a certain level of, how do I say this? But it was like, okay, well, theek hai, I know this person type of thing. Then I met the same person, and like there's details I'm like excluding here. But I met this person like 4 or 5 years later, back when I was like in third year, or no wait, this was when I started working. I was in EY 3 years deep, 2 years deep. This person's way of conversing with me, their general body language and the type of conversation we had was entirely different. When I say entirely different, I ran into her at a party. Like this was very, very different, right? And 10 minutes later, it was like, all right, cool, chalo, anyway, nice seeing you, whatever. And I was like, damn, like I know for a fact I was nicer and kinder and like less selective of who I'm nice to in general back when I was 15 or whatever. Where was your niceness then? And the only thing that changed since then was, and it's not like I was doing something spectacular then. I was still working at EVA and all of that. So it's not like, oh, there was admiration because of what I'm doing. But the only thing that changed was my physical appearance. 100%. That's the only thing that changed. Sure, an argument can be made that like, over a period of time, people become nicer and like people change and stuff. I don't think that's necessarily true. Entirely. But yeah, that's... And ऐसे multiple instances भी हुए हैं where till like 10th or something I was like 5'2", dude. I hit puberty very late. Then 12th mein I gained a little bit of weight and all of that. At some point of time when things got better physically, life got better in general. My social circle improved. My dating life improved for sure. My access to opportunities also improved. It may seem very superficial, but अगर आपके पास ability है, why not go the extra mile to make sure that you get your foot in the door is what my perspective is. I'm not saying this is the end all and be all. You should not be obsessed with your physical appearance. Like, because otherwise that's all you are. Then you become very superficial. Be decent and neat and try and look good don't spend 3 hours in front of the mirror. They're two different things.
Yeah.
I don't support
Either.
the latter.
The latter.
Just
sure.
take care of yourself is all I mean.
हाँ क्योंकि of course you can't a first impression तभी तो exist करता है ना कि first impression में you don't talk to the guy, you don't talk to the person, they don't know your great sides, right? That's why the first impressions exist, right? That of course what else is the first impression? I mean of course good odor.
हाँ सबसे पहला आपका सेंस जो एक्टिवेट होता है वो विजुअली होता है.
Exactly.
Unless आपने सिर्फ किसी से फोन पे बात करी हो.
Exactly. So there's nothing wrong with that. I mean if we're going into that conversation, then फिर तो हम बड़े I mean I'm sad to say this but बड़े weak होते जा रहे हैं in the sense of what we I don't know. Do you want to say something on that or
no? But there's a perspective there.
Yeah.
When you download a dating app, Hinge, Tinder, Bumble, whatever, you don't get sound samples first. You get visual you get pictures first. That's all I'll say.
Makes sense. I mean we're not saying something in some other world, right? It's all a factor of definitely how you look, man. Right? We put across the fact that ये नहीं है कि you look great and everything sorted. And ये भी बोल रहे हैं कि this is not the biggest factor, right?
There's other factors.
It is a factor.
It is
that comes into the play very initially when you're getting to either know somebody or get your foot across a door.
On.
Right. And so coming from
but before that, I'm sorry. Just an addition over there. Regardless of what you look like or what the person that you talk to looks like, I believe everyone should get basic human respect. So agar aapko ye lag raha hai, this means I'm talking about like there's human respect that you give everyone regardless of how they look. Uske beyond, if let's say you get an opportunity because of the way that you look, that's I'm not going to say it's fair or unfair, it just is how it is. But respect har kisi ko do, wherever they come from, whatever they look like. This I don't want to see like a clipping of this tomorrow and some person's like, oh, Francesco says your sense of self-worth should be attached to how you look like. I'm not saying that.
We're surely not saying that. We've put this across and हम essentially हम body positivity को window से बाहर नहीं फेंक रहे या हम ये नहीं कह रहे कि of course किसी को basic respect तो given है. I mean of course when we're in this conversation, right, respect is given that. ये नहीं कह रहे कि आप ऐसे लोगों को treat करो या लोगों को ऐसे treat किया जाता है. ऐसे नहीं किया जाता है कि अगर आपका first impression खराब है तो भाई out of the interview. ऐसे नहीं होता है. But point is कि if this scope जिसके ऊपर शायद decisions थोड़े बहुत impact हो जाते हैं. If we can do better in just it's not about being the fittest guy, but it's about being as well dressed as you can be. By looking good, that's what we're trying to imply, right? Put your effort into, say, dressing up, and also effort into being in a better shape. Yeah. But do you think? So essentially, the point we're drawing is that looking good and body positivity are not like binary opposites, and they're coexisting. Is what we're saying. What do you think?
I think that's what I'm saying. Okay. But that also depends on how you define body positivity, no?
Tell me.
Because body positivity... no, I'm not telling you. But body positivity is... It doesn't absolve you of your responsibilities towards yourself. Sure. It's something that talks more about like your sense of self-worth and the way that maybe you should treat yourself and people should treat themselves. Which basically, at least from how I understand this, I'm not a social activist of any sort. So I may be very wrong about this. So forgive me. My heart is in the right place. I help people get fitter and live healthier lives. So you should assume that I'm probably trying to help people. But I feel like if there's anything that I would take away from like the entire body positivity conversation is that you're not a piece of shit just because you don't look good. And people need to know that. You still are a decent human being deserving of respect, of basic human respect. Does that mean that I'm excluding you for something because, let's say, you don't get access? See, okay, Lord help me. Taking care of yourself is a responsibility.
Yes.
And you can do both. Acknowledge that you deserve better because you should love yourself Because अगर आप वो नहीं करोगे तो you'll always keep becoming an empty cup. That'll always keep happening. You'll basically be someone जो दुनिया को देता रहता है but never really fills themselves up again. So you'll become an empty cup, and then you won't have anything to give to the world, and then suddenly it's like life becomes bad because you're hollow. So acknowledge your responsibility towards yourself, just like you would acknowledge your responsibility towards your pet or your friends or your child if you have one. You'd go to lengths to take care of them. Similarly, you should take responsibility for yourself because you deserve it. That said, if you've gone through a phase, or if unfortunately life has put you in circumstances where you haven't, and this happens, there are a lot of times being out of shape is not a choice that you make. Sometimes they're thrust upon you because life is hard, and sometimes it gets a lot harder for some people. A very extreme example of this that I read about, and it's always an example that I state because it stayed with me for so long, is like it shook me to the core when I read this. It changed a lot about how I look at fitness. Even this was not even before I started my profession, like midway in my career, like maybe a year ago or something, I read this and I was like, shit, I'm going to look at this very differently here on out. A lot of survivors of childhood sexual abuse eat themselves into obesity because the underlying assumption there, please excuse my inaccuracy if there are any, the underlying assumption is that if I don't look physically appealing, get what I'm saying? I may not be subject to, you know. So it's not always a choice. I think some empathy is required over there, which is why body positivity is important. Those people who make fun of body positivity notions and the movement itself, I think they just look at like the worst side of things, like the part of any social movement that sometimes becomes irrational because of some outliers, where people say, oh, I'm 300 pounds and I'm healthy. I like face of body positivity. That's not scientifically true. If your doctor asks you to lose weight, he's not wrong. Because हमारे को पता है from a scientific lens that, bro, being overweight is not good for you. And if you're facing certain lifestyle related issues, losing weight, your weight may not even be the cause. You may have underlying other issues also, but it's the most obvious thing to fix first, which is why he's asked you to do that. He's not fat shaming you, you know. So मतलब वो समझना पड़ेगा आपको. So that part of things is a little irrational, but to say that the body positivity movement is not based in rationale is just wrong. You're worth something, right? Because of which you should also take care of yourself, because you're worthy of human respect. So start with yourself first, is what I think. If I were to find a point of intersection between the two, that would be it.
Great point put there, bro. And
Thanks,
there's
fam.
this एक गाने की लाइन है जो मेरे दिमाग में आ रही है. Actions are reactions. Don't be quick to judge. So, point being that people are reacting to something because there's more deeper things happening in the background. And the point that you put across that there are, it's not इतना black and white नहीं है कि अगर कोई physically fit है तो उसके दिमाग में भी सब सही है, या अगर कोई physically fit नहीं है वो भी अपनी मर्जी से fit नहीं है या वो मेहनत नहीं कर रहा. So there's always back stories, and not and essentially we should be able to have that open mindset to essentially understand people, and everybody's sure, worthy of human respect. That's not even a question. I don't know, we be putting this up again and again because fear इतना हो चुका है polarization का कि हम अच्छी बात करते हुए भी ऐसे ना हो कि लोगों को लगे कि हम उल्टा बोल रहे हैं. Right, correct. That's the point there, but we hope, we love you guys, of course you get the point, right? But yeah, good point put across, man. Definitely makes the point in I think it should make a point that let's not be quick to judge.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
And now let's take it a little different. Let's talk about your business. How's that going?
I can't complain.
That's cool. How, tell me what does a day look like in your life running a fitness consulting thing?
There are phases where it's very scheduled. There are phases where it's not.
Okay.
And both are good things. So, abhi kaise chal raha hai is that I wake up in the morning. I either plan my day the night before or while I'm having my morning coffee, because I need my coffee in the morning. I'm a fiend without it. I feel horrible without my morning coffee. It's okay to have your coffee. If you think coffee is bad for you, it's not. Um, so what I do then is that I get to client work.
Okay.
First thing.
Okay.
Because it helps me out. In that regard, अगर मेरे को जैसे अगर कोई meetings वगैरह करनी है, let's say if I need to catch up with a couple of clients, or if I need to like, if there's like an onboarding of sorts where a new client is coming into the program, then I take care of that either in the first half or much later in the day. Beach ka time I try and keep for creative related work. So client work, program creation, alterations, anything of that sort that I need to take care of. Then I go to like the creative work, because scripting, etc., new projects are a part of all of these things.
Okay.
So for example, right now there's like PDFs and there's certain resources that I give to my clients when they join the program, so that they sort of understand a little better, right? And plus there's a feeling of novelty, which tends to really keep people going. If I were to give them the same things in a black and white sheet, they may not like it, but you know, when there's collaterals that I've clearly spent a lot of time on, they feel cared for.
Sure.
And I make sure that it's name customized and everything, so that you know that I've sat with this myself. Nobody from my team does any of this. If I'm coaching you, I did this. I need you to know that I did this. From every last word that's written over there, मैंने करा है. I'm your coach. You know, I need people to understand that. Because then a feeling of having someone in your corner is very important, dude. Sometimes people know what to do. They just need someone in their corner. Because that reinforcement of belief बहुत important होता है. So anyway, client work, first half of the day. Middle of the day is basically either me getting a workout in, because gym afternoons में खाली रहता है. So then I can just get done with it soon, because contrary to what it may look like, because I have like a fitness page and nutrition page, I don't like working out for too long. Wrap it up, get on with the rest of your day. There's other things to do apart from fitness and bench pressing.
Nice.
Then I get to creative work, like building the collaterals, scripting if I am working on content on that day, or if there's other client related work, because some days it can be a little heavier. So that's that. Then in the evening, or at the start of evening, I do all of my client check-ins, because I do them every day. So what I have is like, I have a daily system of checking in with my clients. Instead of it being like a weekly or a monthly system, I like to have some sort of communication with them every day.
Nice.
So they send me the data that I asked them for, pictures, videos, a rundown of their day, all of that, and then I review it in the form of voice notes. And again, voice notes to create personal touch. It may be faster for me to do it on text, but I don't like the whole templatized system, because how do my clients know that this is me behind the phone and not someone I've given my phone to or my account to? So that's why voice notes. They need to know that Francesco's there. मैं Francesco से बात करो if I ever say something. So that's that. Then I try and spend some time on building things, in the sense that I try and acquire skills that have nothing to do with fitness.
Okay.
Like there's this, so right now I'm going through copywriting, right? Like there's this handbook. I forgot the name of it. I forgot the name of the book, but it's called the Copywriting Handbook or something like that. I saw it on another creator's Instagram page, like a book recommendation. Kick-ass. That's what I'm doing right now. So I'll read from that, then I spend some time writing at the end of every day. Nice. And I try and apply those principles. Like recent, abhi start hi kari, I'm in the first like 100 pages or whatever. So एक दूसरी book है जिसको मैं पढ़ चुका हूँ, तो मैं उसके chapters लेता हूँ and I try like making a summary out of them, so I can get better at putting my thoughts on paper, because of which my content will get better. Sure. So then I don't need to focus on things to make my content fancy, because what I'm saying is enough. So that looks like a typical day. Then I come back, beach mein ek do baar I'll try and walk my dog and all of that. So stuff like that. Cool. That's when things are, right now things are a little unstructured. So isliye aisa lag raha hai. Otherwise, when things are a little chill, then I have like proper timings for things and all of that. Abhi unstructured isliye chal raha hai because when you have more to do, then you can't always rely on a structure, because you do have to firefight. You have to earn the right to be like, अरे मेरे life के अंदर 5 से 6 बजे तक ये होता है, then 6 to 7 I'm doing this. It's like when you have things that involve other people and everything, then it can't be that accurate. So abhi is just work, training, sleeping. That's all I'm doing, more or less.
Do you like it better?
Having a structure of working, eating, sleeping type of thing.
Yeah. I mean having a structure, or this life where you know that there's so much work, because you're also someone who has that value कि यार मैंने इतनी energy बची थी. So by that I'm assuming that these are definitely great days in terms of that. It's okay if you
I don't know
have
which one. I don't know which one I like more. I really don't, because if I have structure, then that means things are going a little chill and all of that. Like not, but I haven't probably thought of something to put a lot of energy onto.
Yeah.
But then that's also usually the time where I may have social commitments or personal commitments, because of which I haven't exactly like maxed out at work. Like I know for a fact that I'm going to have a lot of personal commitments in May, इसलिए मैं अभी थोड़ा सा खींच रहा हूँ. So in May I'm going to take it easy. Like, I'm going to go off work at 8 o'clock sharp every day, all of that.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know which one I like more. I think the fact that I can do both in phases is what I like. If I were to stick to just one forever, I would not be able to do it. It would be too much.
Makes sense.
So
makes sense. Tell me more about you have, like, you advising a lot of people, right? What are some things that people, being humans, struggle with initially, and how do you think, what are the certain things that you help them with, say, in building those certain habits and keeping that accountability as you do, that you think if people can just be wary of and acknowledge कि यार ये loopholes में हम सब फंस रहे हैं, इसकी वजह से हम शायद progress नहीं कर पा रहे. You know, you taking people from that journey, from that experience, are there certain things or certain patterns that, you know, because of which people are unsuccessful with their fitness goals by themselves, or I don't know, there's some things that have helped people
100%.
you advise?
There's actually quite a few, so I'll like skim through most of them.
Yeah.
Number one, most people don't like to most people don't like the truth as much as people pretend to, including myself. It's, for example, we're both exhausted. We've both been in the sun for like an hour getting my tire fixed. There's a good chance that there were certain parts of the podcast where I wasn't very sharp and I rambled on about things. I think my first question I rambled on about.
Okay.
If someone tells me tomorrow, oh, you screwed this up, I don't want to hear it. Like, so a lot of times when you tell people what they're doing wrong, when they think they're not doing something wrong, that's a problem. So you have to be sharper with how you say it. For example, cravings are not just a physiological function. Usually on social media, you'll be like, oh, next time you have cravings, have this low calorie option. It's like, fam, the problem is that cravings are not just a physical function. Sometimes it's also a function of your environment, habits, and in some sense, culture, which again is a part of your environment. And sometimes the solution is to break the habit and go cold turkey. Sometimes, not always. So instead of it being like, oh, coach, what do I have that's low calorie? What can be a healthier alternative? Because my rose after dinner, I used to have a cake. What can I have that's sweet, that's also healthy? It's like, why do you want to be a slave to the fact that you've always needed a sweet after dinner? Sure, have other habit replacement techniques. For example, going for a walk whenever you feel the need to have something sweet. Not because like walks are a perfect replacement, but it puts you out of the immediate environment जहाँ पर आपके पास sweets available होती हैं, and you're delaying the process, basically, right? Because of which, like, you're delaying the decision. Because of which you have a better chance at like getting a grip. But when you tell people like, yeah, listen, I say it in better words, Abhi, so I'm just trying to like make it quick.
Sure.
But cravings are not always supposed to be listened to. And it's like, really? Because that's not what people say on social media, because it's not a sexy marketable idea, right? If I tell people, oh, I'm going to give you 100 recipes that you can have whenever you have cravings. It's like, yeah, let's think about the logic of that for a second. Let's think about the technicalities. Today I can tell you, okay, instead of Kaju Katli, maybe have this. That's like 50 calories per serving. Great. What if we start working together tomorrow? You still don't have the food discipline to not look at food and just fall. So that's why most of my clients, if not all of my clients, because not all, it's a customized approach. But I want everyone who has a decent relationship with food and doesn't have a very problematic relationship with food, very problematic being the keyword, to go through a phase where they are eating in a disciplined manner so that they have the ability to do so. That's why I think even things like your no sugar challenge and all of that, they're not bad. Like how people are like, oh, that's bad. They're not. And I'll tell you why. Because if you go 30 days working out consecutively, or you go 75 days like the 75 hard challenge where you work out twice in a day, or you go 30 days without sugar, or 30 days without ordering in, or whatever the challenge is, you now know you can do it. So trying to build a lifestyle around making generally healthier choices seems like a piece of cake in comparison. It's still a conscious process. It's not like the moment you're done with 30 days, you can just get back to it. But at least now you know, yaar, maine tab kar liya, to there should be no reason why I can't like at least abstain from things for the better part of the week. So number one, people are attached to the habits. People are also attached to the idea of wanting their beliefs validated. So sometimes when it's challenged, it's a problem. Second, people also underestimate what they're capable of over a long period of time. 100% of the time. I tell people to aim high in the long run, not for the month. It's like when people are like, oh, how many kgs can I expect to drop? I just don't answer that question even if I think I have an idea. It's like, Q, are you going to do it only for a month? What if it's slower than that? Are you going to give up? Like, what if you want to lose 10 kgs? You thought you'd lose 10 kgs on the program, but you lost 8. Like, is that a waste? Like, think about it. Just what then if you get this answer? So, people sometimes don't look at the long run and believe in themselves enough. Like, they can't conceive the idea of like being fit. And lastly, another one thing that I think is very problematic across like the entire fitness space is that we have a very skewed notion of what sustainability means. For example, I want to lose weight. Okay, I'm going to be on a caloric deficit. This is what my food is going to look like. Some influencer or some nutritionist, someone will say, if you can't sustain a diet for an entire year, it's not the right diet for you. What if I don't have enough weight to lose कि मैं पूरा साल एक calorie deficit पे हूँ? What if my activity levels are extremely high right now? So I need more food. But then they're going to like reduce a month from now, let's say. What do I do then? Whatever I'm following right now, is that wrong because it's not going to be valid for an entire year? Doesn't it depend? If your works in phases, where you have busy seasons, you have chiller seasons, you have a vacation time, all of that, how can your nutrition and your fitness choices be the exact same throughout the entire year? Right? So that's the point. The idea that either it's got to be the exact same throughout the year or it's wrong for you is just flawed. Let's take a individual specific case. Let's say if I want to get into beach ready shape, like washboard abs and crap, like that, I need to lose like 4 kgs. Okay. 4, 5 maybe. Could be less, could be more. Who knows? वो करके पता चलता है in most cases. That's why also having an initial goal. Like I want to be 70 kgs is wrong. What if you gain muscle in the meanwhile and your actual ideal weight is like 73? That's not a bad thing. It just is what it is. So getting attached to numbers also is a big problem. There are people who've worked with me for 6 months. Net change in weight is like -1 kgs, but they look entirely different because they've also built muscle in the process. So anyway, if let's say someone has 30 kgs to lose or 40 kgs to lose and they're in a space where their doctor's like, fam, you need to lose weight ASAP. This is not healthy for you. क्या आप उसको बोल दोगे कि अरे नहीं, do it sustainably, do it across an entire year. And then there's other people also who will slap a number on this, like, oh, you should lose 1 kg in a month. If this person weighs 120 kgs or 140 and his doctor's like, you need to do something now, to the point where he even starts to ask his patient to consider surgery to get rid of the excess body fat. In situations like those, what do? Do you ask them to lose 1 kg a month? Because that's just bad advice. Like that's harmful advice. You need to get them out of that zone ASAP to the point where at least their health markers are better and they're in a healthier body fat range. So do it as fast as you can. So generalizations that people get subjected to, like you should lose 1 kg a month, or your diet should be able to work for an entire year, otherwise it's not the right diet for you, or slower fat loss is better than faster fat loss, is just wrong. That's wrong. And I think the last thing that most people do wrong is that when they get to a goal, they go back to their old lifestyle, then they say, oh, the diet was not sustainable, or these results weren't sustainable. Bro, अगर आप 10 साल काम भी करते हो in an office, आप 2 हफ्ते नहीं जाओगे, वो आपको फायर कर देंगे. Fitness, at least in comparison, gives you a much longer buffer time. That, you know, if you've been working out for 10 years or like 1 year, whatever, you won't lose it all in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But if you give up every habit that you inculcated to get to this point, you lose it eventually. So the timeline may differ from person to person and the extent to which they said screw it. But yeah, rent is always due.
Aye.
Basically. May not, you don't have to be as intense as you were initially when you were like really chasing this and you were getting a lot of results. Maintenance, at least when it comes to fitness, is not as hard as growing it or improving, but more or less. Like if you expect yourself to go back to like 3 medium-sized pizzas a week, नहीं होता ना वो ऐसे. अगर ऐसा होता तो फिर आप unfit ही नहीं होते पहली बात. So that's that.
Broadly, I think Francesco's put across 3-4 very useful things that probably people are doing wrong, which I think I would like to sum it up in a way that one is that you should be ambitious about what you can do.
Yeah.
Right. Don't underestimate on what you can do in the longer run. Don't be fixated on numbers that you want to lose, say, X amount of kilos in a month, because you might end up doing a kg lesser or a couple of kgs more.
Yeah.
But you're entirely on path to look the way you want to. Right. Third being, we talked about losing fat in a shorter run versus a longer run.
Yeah.
The point that's being made is that it's not always true कि अगर आप 1 साल के बाद भी same ही हमारा workout या fitness broader plan है, incorporating the nutrition and the workout idea, that if it's not sustainable, it's not good. That's always not the case. That's the point that's being put across. And you can have goals divided into phases of working very hard in, say, 3 months, achieving a humongous, say, typically if we are talking about fat loss, achieving a set of kgs, kilos that being lost, gotten leaner, and then the plan can change in terms of the relative improvement that's happened.
Yeah.
Right. So I think those were the 2-3 points that we've put across as of now. Right. And in that moment when we're talking about value and points that he's talking about, one thing that stayed with me, it was in one of his reels, in one of your reels, you talked about salads, right? You talked about having cold food, essentially uncooked food, जो unhealthy होता है. दो तीन terms I've put across loosely.
Fair.
Right?
I'll clarify
it. Help me clarify and help me understand, like salads being one, right? Why ordering salads can be unhealthy, and are there some other foods that us as human beings who are not very aware about nutrition have misconceptions around certain foods being healthy, and in contra on the other side, which they're not, as you said.
So salads, see, I'm not against salads. I'm against ordering salads.
Okay.
2 different things. घर पे बनाना है, you've cleaned your vegetables, you're getting it from a safe place. If you want to go the extra mile, you want to like blanch your vegetables to make sure that they're bacteria free, they're fresh, they're not rotten, cut, well stored, you digest it well, do you. But in a case where you're ordering salads in, you're at the mercy of 2 things. The hygiene standards of the restaurant that you're ordering from or ordering at, and your own immune system going pedal to the metal to keep you safe, right? Because they're under the same reel. there was someone from the hospitality industry who said it doesn't matter what place you're ordering from. I'm from the hospitality industry.
Okay.
कई बार बहुत दिन तक आपका खाना कट के रखा होता है. I'm sure they'd probably store it in a fridge. But even if I've stayed at a 5-star hotel, in the morning when they like give you, like you can get your vegetables, they don't taste fresh, dude. They just don't. Like, there are times that sometimes I've served it because I want to start my day with some fiber because बहुत खाऊंगा मैं, so I want to like at least keep my digestive system not devoid of fiber. But then I have like a bite and I'm like, dude, this seems like it was cut yesterday. Like, you know how sometimes food, it just tastes a little different. It's not that crisp anymore. Fruit seem to also have like a layer of like a dryish thing where you just know, you know. And I don't know how true that is. But if someone from the hospitality industry says that, yeah, hygiene standards can't be trusted no matter where you're eating, I don't know if that's a risk worth taking.
Okay.
Now, there's a lot of people who have anecdotal evidence also under the same post where they're like, yeah, I have been doing better. I have less gas, all of that, ever since I've been ordering only cooked food instead of just raw salads because they're low in calories. And it's like, great, amazing. Then there are some people who are like, no, I've ordered salads all my life and I'm perfectly fine. Yeah, that's because your immune system is strong. That doesn't mean that the food that you're having is safe and that's safe for everyone. If my immune system is strong enough to the point where मेरे को कभी flu नहीं होता, मान लो होता है, but let's say if I were to talk to someone who has like a throat infection and I don't get one, that doesn't mean the throat infection doesn't exist. It just means it won't affect me because my body fought it off. So, and a lot of people over there are like, oh, मेरे साथ तो नहीं हुआ. Then there's other people who are getting absolutely angry at the post. They were like, this is bullshit advice.
Really?
Yeah. There's one guy who said these influencers should be put in jail. क्या बोला है मैंने? अपना खाना पका हुआ खाओ अगर आप बाहर जा रहे हो तो, क्यों आपको नहीं पता कि कट के कब रखा हुआ है. And that's what I'm saying. Remember in the previous question that you asked me, I was like, yeah, some people don't like to be told something that they don't believe, or it opposes their belief. Francesco said, bro, बाहर से pre-cut और raw food मत खा, तुझे नहीं पता कब काट के रखा होगा. Very basic advice. This is something that even like your WhatsApp वाले uncles will agree to because it's that rooted in basic logic. इसके लिए scientific research paper भी नहीं निकालना. पता नहीं है भी या नहीं. इसके लिए आपके पास एक functional दिमाग है तो वो काफ़ी है. But there are people who absolutely lost it. So वो है, right? And the latest comment was like, this morning, dude. Just bunch of shit woven together. This advice is bullshit. It doesn't matter whether your food is cooked or uncooked. Even cooked food can have bacteria. तो एक काम कर, जब you know how we boil water to kill the bacteria in it if let's say you're not sure about the water quality. चलो अब आजकल के टाइम में तो सबके घर पे आरओज वगैरह है, तो एक काम कर, ऐसे किसी घर में जा जहाँ आज तक भी पानी उबालते हैं और उनको बोल मत उबालो, मैं ऐसे ही पी जाऊंगा. You use heat in a lot of cases to kill bacteria, right? Cooked food, because it's so exposed to heat, is safer because it kills bacteria. So if you're saying that uncooked और cooked vegetables के अंदर कोई फर्क नहीं है या जो भी, तो फिर आप तो मतलब खुद को बेवकूफ बना रहे हो.
Probability के against जा रहे हो यार. I mean, of course. Probability
फिर भी कम है, bro. See, of course, if you're eating from outside, the food that you cook in your own house will always be safer. So if you're eating from outside, you're always running a slight risk, right? You order in every day for 30 days, there's a really good chance that one of them will give you digestive distress. Simply because probability है, तो sample size जितना बड़ा होगा, उतना ही होगा ये mishappening. But it's a hard pill to digest because everyone on the internet has been like, order a salad because it has less calories, just don't put mayonnaise in it. Again, the reason why that's good advice in most people's eyes is because सबकी गाड़ी अटक गई है on calories in, calories out. इतने कम अगर if your choice is based on less calories, so जहर ही खा लेना bro. फिर मतलब I'm sure उसके अंदर कम ही होते होंगे compared to a sandwich. It's a very extreme example, but what you put in your body regardless of calories is incredibly important, is all I'm saying. And that's what people couldn't digest, because salads are traditionally very healthy.
True.
Not when you order them from the wrong places.
I have to take in that point. I've essentially, put this across to a couple of friends and colleagues of mine as well, as I told you the other day, right?
Yeah.
That man, I mean, the guy has logic. I felt good यार when I ordered salad. ठीक है कि मैं तो healthy खाना एटलीस्ट मैं healthy खा रहा हूँ.
हाँ.
Because मेरा रूटीन है सच कि मैं ठीक है ऑर्डर करूँगा ही सैटरडे संडे को बाहर से, ठीक है, अगर मैं नहीं टिफिन मंगा रहा तो. सो आई फील गुड अबाउट माई सेल्फ हैविंग दैट सैलड. बट व्हेन आई गेट टू नो दैट यार ठीक है, आई एग्री दैट्स अ फेयर पॉइंट टू मेक मैन, राइट. एंड देन आई अगेन क्वेश्चन, चलो ठीक है अब देखते हैं कि व्हाट कुड बी बेटर नाउ.
एनीथिंग कुक्ड इज बेटर. ऑफ कोर्स अगर आपके पास उसके अंदर भी देन देयर इज अ कपल ऑफ अदर वेरिएबल्स. अगर आपके पास एक तला हुआ खाना है, लाइक यू हैव अ फकिंग समोसा versus let's say a mashed potato dish that's been cooked abhi, like it's not stored for days, then obviously mashed potato is probably better, right, if it's made in less oil. So like fried chicken, maybe not grilled chicken, yes. If you have a side of veggies, make sure that it's at least steamed or sauteed, if not like cooked thoroughly. Anything cooked is fine. Try and make sure that it's not fried. Try and make sure that there's some veggies in it, if at all you're also depending on that meal to fulfill your fiber requirements. If not, I personally would go for something that I know is easy to digest. I know a rice and curry dish I will digest very easily, because rice ke saath most people do very well, by the way. People think rice is a bad food. It's something that you should avoid when you're trying to get fitter. No, rice is a beautiful carb source. Digests easily. So if you have digestive distress or you have a sensitive gut, it is very easy to digest. It's a low FODMAP food, because of which it's easy to digest. It's a carb source that most people can depend on, and there's a reason why most of the country also still depends on rice. That, which is freshly cooked, of course, with a curry that gives you some protein or even some veggies if you want, provided everything is cooked, is a great option. My favorite dish is a red Thai curry. It's my Zomato order list is basically 80% of red Thai curries from different places depending on the availability. So great to digest. Cooked hota hai obviously. Kacha to khaunga nahi main. That's a great option. Just your first question should be, bro, is this cooked? If it's not cooked, look away.
Look away. ठीक है bro. Noted. मैंने तो पहले ही लुक अवे कर लिया था. भाई आप भी देख लो, लुक अवे कर लो, अपनी रिसर्च कर लो मतलब. एंड आई थिंक, आई होप यू, ऑफ कोर्स you've incorporated that in the recipe book that that's been in the making for a while now.
I think I have the first half ready today. घर जाके देखूंगा.
चलो man, congratulations on that. And I heard that you put today in pushing it, that you're also on a new program from now on. Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to take my fitness to the next level, physical fitness.
Okay.
Like I said, phases, right?
Yeah.
Pishle, I think the entirety of 2024 I had fun with fitness. अब थोड़ा सा serious हो जाऊंगा मैं. 3 से 6 महीने depending on what life allows me to do. Proper routine, putting in the work every day, workout 6 times in a week. Let's see where I go. So that's the idea, because towards the end of the year I also want to have some fun. I want to go on a vacation, all of that.
Fair.
So अगर है मेरे पास 3 महीने तो might as well. If I can extend that, if I have to extend that, I'll see. But I'm bringing back the Pushing It series. I was hoping to start today, but tire puncture हो गया, so I was just too mentally exhausted to deal with that shit.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to start again, see how it goes. I want to document my work, and there's a reason I'm documenting my work, right? I want to really take my fitness and nutrition coaching to like the next level.
Okay.
I want to make it so high in quality over the next 12 months or over the next 6 months that it should be an obvious choice compared to the rest of the industry. Comes across as a little egoistic, but it's not. I'm just willing to put in the work onto that. Like I want to beat the competition by a mile and a half. So I want to sort of document that. Okay, bro, I spent like a couple of hours on working on these resources for you guys. My content is now streamlined because I want to spend more time on the coaching system. I'm introducing someone else in the team, for example. Like I have a communications assistant who's also now an accountability partner for all of my clients. If they miss their updates for a few days, he sends them a text type of thing, you know. So instead of just me coaching you, there's 3 people in a group: me, my communications assistant, and you, who I'm coaching. So, and he's doing a kick-ass job. I think aise jaise if I introduce someone else in the team who can help me with certain things, even if it is as simple as, let's say, okay, I haven't thought of it yet, but no, if there's any stone that I can turn to make sure that things go well for my clients or to improve the chance of them having great results, I don't want to leave any of those unturned. So that's what I want to document. Because another one thing that I really like about like all of this, like the whole fitness thing, like running your own like your own service thing, is that the more transparent you are, the more people believe in you.
Sure.
So I might as well just build in public. ठीक है, someone was like copy ideas and stuff like that. Because when I ran the 30-day challenge, like the 30-day pushing it series, everyone has a series now. Everyone, okay, not everyone, but like a lot of people have a series now. Someone's got a series on starting their company. Someone's got a series on their on fitness. Someone's got a series on content creation, similar to what I was doing. But सबने अपने अपने challenges लिए हैं. उसके ऊपर एक सीरीज बना दी 30 दिन की, which I'm very happy about. It's lovely to see people grow. It makes me feel like कि हाँ bro, मेरे जो ideas थे वो मतलब एक अच्छी जगह से निकले हैं और वो अच्छे ideas हैं. मेरे को validation मिल गई उससे. मेरे को बहुत ही अच्छा लगता है when people like take a structure and follow it in their own way. तो you can expect it to come back from the 1st of what is Monday? 8th of April.
Nice.
I might start posting from like the 9th or 10th, but that's the vibe. That's
Cool,
what we're trying to do.
Cool, man. Fair. I think guys follow the guy for having a look through their journey, and I think that's come full circle here. As I told you कि मैंने आपको वो first उस पे I followed you on that, right? When you were saying that. The word when you said, right, you want to put across the चाहे उसमें से कोई कुछ ले जाए, but you want to document it. The honest word that made me follow you. So I think that's the way to go, bro. And yeah, wishing you the best with that. And I've had a lot of fun chatting, a lot of myths in my head broken. And yeah, some things for me, a lot of things for me to also work on. And if we've missed something, this is the time, bro. If you want to say something to the people who've watched till here, and then we'll close it.
Nothing, dude. Just मस्ती नहीं रुकनी चाहिए.
So, that's it. That's it. मस्ती नहीं रुकनी चाहिए. और अगर आप यहाँ तक रुके हो, को वाइब बढ़िया लगी है, मज़ा आया, तो सब्सक्राइब भी कर सकते हो. Comment ज़रूर करना, whatever you discover with thing. Hope you like the board though. Yeah, you can. I think comment something that you like, and that'll really help. And yeah, you can consider subscribing, liking, and we're going very aggressive with the podcast also. And let's see if we can do a challenge or not. But yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. It was wonderful talking to you, bro.
Thank you so much for having me, bro.
Yeah, thank you.
It's
Bye,
been
guys.
lovely. Bye.
Bye.